Hi everybody, so I've just got back from a week in Cyprus where it was roughly 32 degrees every day, but with the humidity it was saying it felt like 42 to 45, which was very accurate. So I took lots of makeup with me that I've been testing out at home that I thought might work well for me on holiday. I do take quite a lot of makeup on holiday, but I also took makeup so I could do a quick look for just day to day, and makeup I could turn my day makeup into a night makeup. So that's what you're going to see today. I'm going to show you the things that work the best for me. I'll also mention a couple of things I said I'd test that maybe didn't work so well, so you can just get some feedback on that. And I can also tell you if it's still working for me, because we've come home to the same weather, which is why right now you can hear cars outside, and I really do apologise about that. But I didn't film over the weekend because it's been over 32 here in Wales. Today it's actually dropped all the way down to 20, but my house, with all the heating that gets trapped into the walls, our houses are absolutely brilliant here in the UK for keeping the heat in, but that's not such a good thing here in the summer. So my house is still thinking it's 32 because it hasn't come down, and this room is just insufferable. So I do apologise. I have the windows open, so if there's a very loud noise I'll stop, but you will be hearing cars because I do live by a road. I am so sorry, but otherwise you're basically going to get my update on my holiday. So I really hope this is helpful and the noise isn't too distracting. Anyway, if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm 48. I'm not a professional. I'm just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I show you the latest releases, my favourite looks, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this content, I would love it ever so much if you did subscribe to my channel. But if you're already subscribed, welcome back, and thank you so very much for being here. And my skin type, if that's helpful to you, I've got fair to light skin with mostly cool undertones that do lean a little bit neutral. I've got blue eyes, and I've got combination skin, which is mostly dry, but I do get an oily T-zone, especially in the summer. So anyway, that's enough about me. Let's dive straight into this video. I'll start off by telling you quickly about my skincare routine, which I completely change when I go abroad, and I completely change it even more so when I go to a hot country and I'm traveling on a plane for a long time. If I'm traveling, which I often do in the winter, into colder parts of Europe, I change it again. So it's just different holidays, different changes in skincare. Sorry, that was very loud then. So one of the first things I want to show you is this from Maybelline. Now this is called their Urchin. This is a really clever device. So this was the only device I took on holiday, and the reason I took this is it pretty much does everything I need it to without me needing any other devices, which makes it absolutely perfect for travel. So this is a cleanser. So you turn it on here, and then you adjust the strength. But as it cleanses, it's giving you red light therapy. And then you can go through different strengths. You can increase the mode there. Not the mode, sorry. You can increase the strength for cleansing your face. But then you can change the actual mode. And then you can take it into the red light therapy mode, which is not to be used with the cleanser, I believe. And this is where you get the more intense. I've actually put it on the cleanser now. Here we go. I'm confusing myself already. So this is just using the red light therapy. So this is a bit like using the Zip. As far as I know, this doesn't have both microcurrent and nanocurrent like the Zip. I think this one is just microcurrent, but it's red light and it's giving me microcurrent, so I can do that. So what I was doing basically every night was cleansing my face. I actually had a nice bath there, so I was lying in the bath cleansing my face and then switching it up to this mode so I could do the treatment after. And I spent probably less than 10 minutes just relaxing doing that every evening, and this kept my face in, well, my skin rather, in really good condition, and this travelled very well with me. It's also very small. I didn't need to charge it. I charged it up before I left. I used it every night. I didn't need to charge it again, and as you can see, I haven't charged it since I got back, and it's still going well. So this was fabulous. I believe the full title is Urchin. Yeah, Cleansing and Skin Rejuvenation Device. And also I have a discount code for everything from Maybelline. You can get 10% off with Han Beauty. I've got a few things from Maybelline now, and they have fabulous products, and I think this one is really clever and ever so good for travel. So that was one thing I thought was a massive hit, and the first time I've tried it with a holiday. And now for my double cleanse. This is something I've shown you before. If anyone by any chance watched my summer travel makeup last year, I was showing you these, and if you watched my skincare video I also mentioned these, and that's because this company Balmain specializes in people who have skin conditions. So if you have allergies or all sorts of conditions, I won't go through the long list, but basically if you have sensitive skin, specific allergies, specific skin conditions, this brand is made for you. But for me, what it's really made for is things like travel, when you know your skin is about to experience something very different. So my skin gets superbly dried out on the plane, as it does with lots of us, and then obviously we're going straight into that humidity and we're going into the hot weather, and in the hotel we're getting all the air conditioning, which I don't normally get at home. So my skin is really experiencing something very different. So on holiday I strip back my skincare completely. I don't take any of my Tretinoin in, I just leave it behind when it's a hot holiday anyway. In cooler environments I sometimes take it and use it every other day, but in this condition I just leave my Tretinoin at home and I go for a simplified skincare routine. So these two cleansers, the first one I use is the Omega Rich Cleansing Oil, and then I move on to the Gentle Face Wash. Both of them have a rose hip in, they smell beautiful, they work beautifully, and my skin loves them. In fact, the full skincare routine from Balmain's is a very good one if you follow up with the oil and the serum, which I often do. I didn't for this one because I was trying out a few other different things. I've just been testing out different skincares, so I won't go into all of those because I've been testing out new things and I don't want to tell you they're good until I've tested them further, but those I can tell you are very good. I don't have it with me, but I also got the new Fenty Jumbo Butter Drop Whipped Oil Body Cream, the tropical oils and shea butter. I've never tried the body creams from Fenty before until I got one with the Smurf collection, and I really enjoyed that. So when I looked on the website, they had that really big pot of the tropical oils. So I used that for my body. I got absolutely no dry skin. I was basically doing my neck down to my toes every night. It absorbed quickly, it smelled absolutely fabulous, and I got no dry skin whatsoever. So that was a really good success for me, and the reason I don't have it with me is it's actually upstairs by my bathroom sink because I've been using it since I got home as well, so I forgot to bring that down with me. So sorry about that. So the other product I haven't brought down with me because I keep it with my evening skincare every day of the year is the Tatcha Overnight Indigo Repair. I'll just pop a picture up now. Now this is a cream I've mentioned before. This is something I repeat buy. In fact, I recently showed you this lovely free gift which I got from Tatcha, and that's because I got their new what's the title of it? The new Dewy Milk Moisturiser, but I also, to get £70 worth, which qualified me for the free gift, I got a backup of the Overnight Repair because it is my most used, most loved cream from Tatcha, and it's something I rely on when I think my skin needs that extra boost. So if my skin is not looking very healthy, or if I know I'm going into an environment where my skin might struggle or experience change, that's when I always use it, and it just seems to fix my skin overnight or prevent problems occurring. And as always, it worked. So I was trying out a few different eye creams and things and serums. Like I said, I won't go into those, but that was my last step in my evening skincare. And then in the morning, my first step was also Tatcha, which is something I love to take on holiday. This is something you can take in your hand luggage because it's not a liquid, which is useful. That's not the reason I take it though. I take it because it is fabulous, it's gentle, it exfoliates and it cleanses. So every morning, instead of having any sort of acid-based essence or toner, I didn't use any of those because I think they're a bit harsh. I stopped at any of those sorts of things. I just use this exfoliating polish, it's called, from Tatcha. So I'll pop a picture up on the screen because this also is sitting by my sink because I use this regularly, and this is called the Rice Polish. I've got this in gentle. You can actually get it in the white, I think, which is the non-gentle. Not that it's rough, but this is particularly gentle. So it's gentle but exfoliating. It's beautiful. It's so creamy and rich, but it gives you a lovely creamy experience, but it also gives you that gentle exfoliation, which is perfect. So that combined with my night cream, I think they really, really helped. And this is something I've used before and you've heard me mention before. So I highly recommend those products from Tatcha because they really do protect you when you're on holiday, or like I said, when you need it. Like when we go into the winter and the heating goes on and your skin starts to flare up maybe, switch into those two regularly always works for me. So one brand I did take with me that was brand new to me, this was sent to me in PR actually, this is the company Luna. I think this has been going quite viral because I've seen it all over the place online, but what I took with me was the Everywhere Spray to Wipe, and I took the All Over Deodorant. So both of these, basically you can put these on every single part of the body, and this one is a spray. So if you just need a freshen up or a clean in those sort of conditions, like if you're on the plane and you just want to freshen up, this is like giving yourself a quick wash. So it's just so good, and you can use this absolutely everywhere, even in your most sensitive areas. It also has a really nice fragrance. It just says original on here, but it does have a beautiful fragrance. It says on the back actually jasmine and ylang ylang, that's why it smells so good. So this one was the spray, and then this one is the roll-on deodorant. So I took my Act deodorant, which I've talked about on this channel many times before. It's got the cap on at the moment. And I use the Act deodorant for that really secure deodorant to make sure it really stops you from sweating, because it's really good for that. But I was using this for more regular top-up. So this is a roll-up, and again it's got that lovely jasmine and ylang ylang fragrance. You can put this anywhere on the body. It smells so beautiful. It will forever remind me of that holiday now. As soon as I smell it, it makes me think of my hotel room. It's lovely. So if you've heard of these, I think the hype is pretty real. The prices on these are exceptionally affordable, and they're very sort of handbag travel friendly. I think you'll be able to put these in most handbags, and they're very, very good. So I had no reactions. Very good for sensitive areas. Beautiful smell. I can't say anything bad about them. So definitely worth trying both of those out. I do have them linked. I don't have a discount code. I did actually ask them, but they said they're not issuing them at the moment. If they do, I will let you know. So now for how I started my skincare. So the first step was I took this with me. Now I always use some sort of milky toner in the morning, but I decided to take this one. I've been sort of switching between this one and the Rhode regularly. This is the Rhode Glazing Milk. I switch between that and this. I just choose one or the other every single day, but I particularly loved this one, and it's quite heavy for travel, so it bulked up my travel. But anyway, why not? Like I said, I had a big suitcase. I was able to take a lot. We had quite a big amount of weight allowance, so I didn't hold back on my packing for this trip. So I took this, and this is my first step in my skincare, which I've been loving, from Pat McGrath. So that's the Divine Skin Rose 001, the Essence. And then my second and only skincare step, really, which I just think is so perfect, is the Ultra Violet. This is the SPF 50, but this one's called the Queen Screen. I've mentioned this a few times before. I've well and truly tested this out before traveling. This one is a primer, a sunscreen, a vitamin C and a moisturizer all in one. It's giving you all of those things. So it is really, really, really good. And also my skin loved this, and I found in these really hot conditions that I didn't find it quite as sticky as I have in the past. So my skin actually really enjoyed it. It absorbed it very quickly, and I applied this to all of my face, all down my neck and all of my exposed chest as well. So I used it for all those areas. So that was really, really good. And that worked brilliantly for me. So I do need to powder down whenever I use this, whatever's going on top, but that's just a preference for me. If you don't want to do that, I would recommend going with something like this one from Ultraviolet, which is their Super Light Mineral Sunscreen, which has a bit of a tint. This one's also SPF 50, but I didn't take this one because this was the routine I chose to go for. And then I had my Delilah Essentials. If you know me and Delilah, I can't go anywhere without my Delilah. So my lip Saviour, which is currently on my lips and pretty much every day of the year. This is how I start my routine out. So I've got this on my lips, which just locks in that moisture, and it also gives you a little pop of enhancement to the colour of your lips, but in a very natural way. And the other Delilah product, which I've got sitting here because I had to, everything I'm showing you I've kept packed and I'm taking them out, but a couple of things I've had to dig out, the Delilah products being some of them, because I can't leave them until I film. I needed them the day I got back. So here is the Wake Up Eye Perfector from Delilah. This one's actually nearly all gone, but I just about had enough, and I do have my backup sitting here. So this is the eye cream, which I don't currently have on, so I'll actually put a little bit of it on now. I put on pretty much every day, just a tiny little amount. And this is what makes my concealer and makeup really lock in and stay. And somebody asked me recently, why when I apply primers, do I not apply to the under eye area and this area here? And the reason I don't is because I always start with this. So this is my primer for those areas. I don't want to use other primers under the eye because it's a very different part of the body for me, part of the face and the way it reacts. this is the product I rely on the most for that sort of perfected under eye area. I did actually take a vitamin C eye cream actually, which I put on before that I didn't mention, which is the Tatcha. I used several different eye creams with vitamin C. I love the Tatcha one, so I took that. So I was putting that on just before the sunscreen. I just forgot to mention that. So I'll put that back on the desk. I also took my Delilah Wake Up Face Mist. Now this is something, if I felt I needed it at this stage, I'd put it on now, but I pretty much didn't. I'm sitting in a very air-conditioned room on holiday, so I didn't particularly need it with all the sort of skincare I've already got on. This was more for topping up during the day, for having in my bag, having on the plane, for trying to stop me going dry on the plane. It's a beautiful fragrance. It's a really hydrating one. It's one of the most fine, hydrating, gorgeous face mist, if not the most gorgeous face mist on the planet. So that's the Wake Up Radiant Hydrating Skin and Makeup Mist. So it's not a setting spray, it's more refreshing, hydrating mist, which can go under makeup, in between layers of makeup and on top of makeup, or if you have no makeup, it's just giving you that hydration. Also worth a quick mention, if I showed you my most used makeup recently, one of the things I showed you was the Lisa Eldridge. I think it was in my best makeup of the year so far, the Lisa Eldridge Pinpoint Concealer, which I only use for underneath the brow, for highlighting under the brow. And I took that, and I'm showing you it because I actually finished it. So I was trying to tell you how long this lasts. So this lasted me since it launched at the start of the year right through till July, and I've been using it every single day. So while I was on holiday, I literally ordered another one, and it was here for when I got back. This literally lasted me till the last day, so that was very lucky. And then the next step for me was my next Delilah product, which I use every single day. And I often forget to mention this one, but this has taken over for me from the Victoria Beckham Eye Brightener. Since I got it, I've been using this one constantly. I didn't buy it as a brightener, I sent it in PR because it comes under their eyeline range, which I just presumed was just for eyeliner. But this one is very much a waterline brightener shade. And it's actually the most perfect shade I have ever found. I always said Victoria Beckham was the most perfect until I tried this one. So I pop this into my waterline every single day. Every look you ever see me doing on YouTube, I've already got this in pretty much every single time. So the shade of that one is called Neutral. I do actually have here the Victoria Beckham Eye Brightener if you want to see them side by side. So that's the Victoria Beckham, and this is the Delilah. So the Delilah has ever so slightly sort of pink tone to it. It's just much more perfect. The Victoria Beckham, which I always thought was incredible, is a little bit warmer. I think that's why this one is just so good. I also prefer the way that it's got that retractable nature to it, so you can just twist up and down and you're not having to sharpen. I feel like it's a lot safer for the eyes. I don't like having a sharpened pencil getting close to the waterline, especially when you get into the end of the pencil and it starts to get a bit less smooth. So yeah, I really do love that, and I highly recommend that, not just for holidays but for every day of the year. So my next step was the primer that I just can't stop using. This has become my go-to primer from Maybelline, the Grippy Serum. And again, every day I've used this since I got it, and I think it's probably been about 2 months now. So look how much is gone, and I use it every day because you don't need a lot. But this one I started using, having been a I don't need primer person for a long time, but I started using this when my makeup stopped sitting well here, which happened as the weather warmed up, and I haven't stopped using it since. I don't particularly need it all over the face, but I put it in the areas where I know I get problems with my makeup moving, and so far so good. I say so far so good, it's just perfect because it's been months that I've tested that out. So this had to come with me. This was an essential. I took 2 bags on the plane with me with the makeup I cannot live without in case my case goes missing. So this was in my hand luggage. A lot of these products were actually, because they're the can't live without products. And I also took the Tatcha the Silk Canvas, which is something I've also been using recently on top of this. So I suppose I went a bit mad on the primer front because the Ultra Violet is a primer in itself. So when I use the Grippy primer from Maybelline, I take a little bit of this, not a lot at all, rub it between 2 fingers and use it in the areas where makeup tends to collect, and I just use it to sort of blur out the pores here and this line here, which always fills with makeup. And I find that when I use this with that Grippy serum, it stops my makeup collecting here in the lines much better, and my makeup here just looks smoother. So I was doing that before the holiday and it worked well, and I took it with me and continued with it, and that worked well. So as I said, I didn't pack light, 3 primers. And then 2 products I've pretty much been using every day. I might not have mentioned at least both of them. One of them is the E.L.F. Putty Colour Correcting Eye Brightener. And if you look how much is left in here, I've nearly hit the bottom. That's how much I've been really enjoying this. And this was the concealer brush I took with me actually, which is from my collection with Otis Batterby and Caroline Barnes. If anyone got that collection, from that collection, this is my favourite brush, and it's my current favourite concealer brush, and I use it for this as well. So every day pretty much I take this here before I do anything else to my face. So after the Delilah, just to tap a little bit of this. It's so lightweight, but it takes away the darkness. And if you have a bit of redness anywhere else and you don't want to wear makeup, so if you had a bit of redness on your nose, it's really good for that as well. So you can tap it into all sorts of areas to take away redness. If you wanted a no makeup day, I highly recommend this incredibly affordable little pot, which I just love. It's my current favourite colour corrector. I was enjoying the Huda one, but I went back to using this and I haven't used anything else. I've also been using this primer from, another primer from Morphe, but this one's an eye primer. I'm still not fully decided on this one. So this one is in the shade Solo Artist, and the name of this is the Solo Artist Priming Cream. Now they do have other cream shades, so you can basically get the shade that matches your skin tone, or you can use darker shades or different shades as pretty much cream eyeshadow bases. I use this just to correct the redness, but also because if you're using any sort of glittery products, if you don't go in with a powder, then if you use any sort of shimmers directly on top of this, they will grip to this and they will not fall down your face. So it's a really good thing if you don't want a powder, but what I tend to do is just use this to correct the redness on my eyelid and powder down, because I feel it needs to be powdered down. But if you want to wear something very glittery, just basically you're setting this with the shimmer, and the shimmer will grip to it. But the reason I'm a bit iffy with it is because it doesn't dry down enough for me. I would like it to have a little bit of tackiness for the shimmer, but I shouldn't have to want to powder on top before I start my look, and I always want to with this. But you can see how it's got rid of any of the sort of redness, and I've been doing this instead of concealer. I used to just do this with concealer all the time, but I thought I'd try this because I heard a lot of people saying it's very good. Again, super affordable. So I am enjoying it. I prefer it to the one from MAC because it's a much less dry formula, so I'm moaning about it being moist, but for mature skin it's much better because the MAC one that's so popular, that one really drags on my lids now as I'm getting older, so that's better if you have dry skin. So here is one of my travel bags that came with me on the plane. The cannot go in the big suitcase, has to be protected bag. And I took 2 foundations with me, and I made a mistake because I thought I'd packed my #1 foundation, which is the Dior stick. I've got this in 1CR, which is my current best shade, and I didn't. I just packed the contour, so I actually thought I'd lost that and I was panicking. But fear not, because I took these 2 as well. So I say as well, I forgot that one. I took these 2. Now this is the matte, and I took that in case I got too greasy. So this is the Dior Forever Cushion Foundation. It's got an SPF 35 in it, this one, but this has more of a matte finish, and I thought I'll use this if the ultraviolet is a bit too greasy and I feel I can't go in with a very hydrating foundation, because the other one I took is this very glowy, very hydrating, very beautiful foundation, which you've probably heard me rave about, the Dior Prestige Cushion Foundation, the Teint de Rose. But I used this on the first day and I didn't look back, so this one was just not needed. I must say I did not expect this to work with the Violet because of how much hydration you get from the 2, but I think it was because of the change in weather that my skin basically quite enjoyed having the 2 very skincare based, very glowy bases together, but they still worked well. I took my Refa LCO3 brush, which is the one I choose to use for most of my bases, but with a cushion foundation, just tapping it in and then applying this. If you haven't seen me talk about this one before, this is the one that's got hundreds of rose petals in the formula itself. It's got incredible skincare benefits. It does correct, it gives a lovely glow. You don't need much, just a light layer of this one. I have actually ordered this in the bottle formula while I was away. Actually, I ordered that. I thought I've got to get it. I haven't tried it yet, but I will let you know. There are a lot more shades if you want to order in the bottle rather than the cushion, by the way. And I found mine in the UK on the John Lewis website, just for your information, because it's quite hard to find. I haven't linked it below. If you'd like a link for that, let me know and I'll dig it out for you. I've also got my Refa B01 brush, which I just use around the brows, which I did also take with me. This brush is no longer available, I'm afraid. Hopefully they'll bring something like this back because it's such a good brush. And I had my Morphe sponge with me. Again, this has become an absolute go-to for me. So just tap off any sort of excess. I want a really light layer because I'm going to be in such humid conditions and because I'll be powdering down. So you can see how shiny everything is now, and it does really need that powdering down. So I did have my Dior contour stick with me, which I'd taken by accident instead of the foundation, but I also had this one from E.L.F, which I've been loving, so I continue to use this one. Not because I prefer it to the Dior, I just like it as well, so I've been enjoying it lately, so that's what I continued using. So I've got this one in the shade number 1 Fair. So I was using this for, well, since I bought it, I've almost used it every single day in the last month or so at home. And of course I took my Mario F4 brush with me. I now have 3 of those. Did I tell you that? When they had them on offer, someone kindly said to me, there's a big sale on, I didn't notice, at Mario. So I quickly snatched up an extra 2 of these. But anyway, look how quickly this just melts into the skin, this contour. It's just fabulous. It's so quick and easy. And it's a lovely natural contour shade for me. So this is now, we're getting close to that sort of natural no makeup look that you can pretty much stop at. I mean, a lot of you might not wear any of these things when you go on holiday, because I was wearing this even when I went swimming because that's me. That's just the way I am. Some of you may just put your SPF on and go straight out the door, but for me, we're going down for breakfast in the hotel, and I do like to feel presentable and a bit pretty and wear a nice dress before I get changed and go out for the pool and stuff. Plus, we don't tend to hang around by the pool all the time on holiday. We tend to go out and explore and walk about and get to know the area. So, saying that, one of you actually messaged me, somebody who actually lives in Cyprus, and kindly recommended some places to visit, which included this incredible area where you can see the sunset. Now, Paphos in Cyprus is one of the most beautiful places in the world, apparently, for seeing the sunset, which I can definitely agree with now I've seen it. But there's one spot in particular where there's a shipwreck, which is the, I think it's called, is it the Evra the Third, maybe? I could be wrong on that. Anyway, I will find out. Well, I've got it in the video clip for you, so I won't play it now, but at the end of the video, I've got like a video that's speeded up showing the whole sunset. But oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. So thank you so much for messaging me. You know who you are if you're watching this, because oh, it was just beautiful. So I will show you that video. I'll definitely play that clip at the end. I have to remember to insert it. So the next thing I used was this Dolce Gabbana PH Violet blush. And since reviewing this hasn't left my desk. That's been several months now. I love this one. Now, one of the things I did with this every single day, because I didn't want to wear lipstick and stains for the daytime, I wanted to put those on more for in the evening. I just put a bit of this on my lips. It's not my favourite shade in this type of product for lips, but it works, and I just found it so easy. And this gives me locked in colour on the lips for hours. So I put, let me just get some more. So I put that on my lips, and then a few drops on my cheek. And again, this will be there all day. Now when I'm going for a full beat look with everything, this is often how I start my look anyway, and then I lock it in with powder, and this just gives me that little bit of colour underneath, so that when my blush is gone on top, which it inevitably does by the end of the day, this will still be here because it's a stain. But it's so easy. It is my favourite out of all of these types of products and formulas. This one is my favourite one. It's just so gorgeous. And then for concealer, so I took the Tarte concealer, the one I've been raving about. This one is the Shape Tape Blur Concealer Stick in 12B Fair Beige. And I packed this a few days before leaving in a different place in one of my bags, and I thought I'd lost it. So I went the last few days before the holiday thinking I'd lost it, and I was gutted. I thought I'll have to order another one when I get back. So I actually took my Delilah concealer, which I also love, and I thought I'll have to use that one only. And when we got there, I found it with my makeup brushes. So that was a nice find for me on the day we got there. So I use this one every day. Not that the Delilah one isn't very good, it is very good, but this one's just so quick and easy, and it's such a hydrating formula. I love it. I never ever get this one creasing at all. It never cakes. It's just like putting on a beautiful eye cream. So now, because I've got the contour and everything else, I just take this now just to brighten up and even things out a bit. Can you see how pink my lips are now from the PH blush? Which is why it's not necessarily my favourite shade, but I like the fact it's matching my cheeks and it's just there for hours without me having to think about it. So now the Mario F4. This is pretty much my day makeup complete now, and it may have seemed like a lot of product, but it isn't. I am jabbering away here and making it seem longer winded, but it isn't at all. This is a very quick base, and I think this gives you that no makeup sort of look, but you're still perfected. Obviously, even on holiday in this situation, I have to set down because it's way too shiny. I'm using very, very shiny products, and I'm in a very humid, muggy environment, so I couldn't possibly just go out like this. And for powder, I did go with my #1 powder, the YSL. I did also take the Givenchy pressed powder, which I'll show you at the end what I did with that, but the YSL powder in blue, and my Nicky LaRose N14 brush for setting under the eyes. And can you see how the Morphe sort of collecting there in the line, just like a concealer does, because it does not dry down. So I always set this, unless, as I said, I'm going directly in with a sparkle. And I also took this brush from BK Beauty, the 105, which is my standard use brush. I took basically the brushes I rely upon the most recently, apart from eye brushes, because I've got sort of 3 different sets of eye brushes I sort of rotate between. I wouldn't say I particularly prefer one over the other. I like the Victoria Beckham ones, I like Refa, some of the Wayne Goss actually, and Sonia G. So I took Sonia G because I'm currently using those, and I'll probably switch back to Refa or Victoria Beckham at some point, but right now I'm enjoying my Sonia G brushes. So those were the eye brushes that came with me. You might want to just set your T-zone and keep that glow, but my hair would stick to my face, and I did keep my hair down until I went out because the hotel's so good with the air conditioning. I could afford to keep my hair down. The minute we went out, my hair had to go straight up. Another product I should have mentioned that was really good for my hair, by the way, which I put on every single day, is this Kerastase hair oil. I absolutely love this. I did put a link out for this recently on my community page, showing you how you could get it nearly half price in the Amazon Prime sales. So I bought the biggest size bottle of it because that on top of my hair is one of the only hair oils I can actually apply on a daily basis without it ever feeling heavy or oily at all. Just a little bit of it onto dry hair, and it kept my hair silky soft. It really did, considering how dry and awful my hair can get in that sort of weather. So the two bronzers I took with me, it was the new one from Fara Homidi and my most loved bronzer this year, which is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Blurring Bronzer. I've got this one in light, and I've got the Fara Homidi in the lightest shade, which is Bois, B-O-I-S. But I didn't use Mario once. The first day I used Fara, and I stayed using Fara, and I pretty much haven't used another bronzer since the day I reviewed Fara, because wow, apart from when I tested out the one from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I don't know if anyone saw my shorts reel on that, but not a good bronzer for me, that one at all. This one is just perfection, especially for summer looks. And I've started using my Holiday Rapper brush, which I normally only use for blusher, but this works as a sort of bronzer and blush, so a blonzer for me. So I sort of over apply it a bit on the cheek area, so it's giving me that bronze and the blush shade, but it also works up here. So I've already got a bit of colour from the contour underneath, but this is just, I absolutely adore this. But using a light fluffy brush like this one from Rapper, rather than a dense sort of brush, I think this applies so much easier. So I did use the more dense bronzer brush from Victoria Beckham, which is synthetic as well. This is obviously natural and more soft, and I just think it applies better with this. So I took this quite a lot into the eyes like this every single day when applying it all over the face. But then I took my fluffy Sonia G brush and took a bit more of it on there. Made sure I was completely covering the whole of the eye, so the mobile lid, above the lid, and there, just a very sort of rough application. And then Sonia G Pencil Pro brush, running a bit underneath here as well. And at this stage, I'd say your face is done for that super easy, no makeup look. But obviously you've got a bit of makeup. But for me, that's still not quite enough for my easy look. There are a few other things, but you certainly could stop here. But I like to just go a little bit further. So obviously, Tom Ford Black Diamond came with me, and obviously that hadn't stayed in the bag because I had to pull it out the first moment I got home. And what I did with this is I took some of the shimmer on my finger and just ran a little bit of this across the top, because I can't go a day without a bit of shimmer. And this just gives the softest little bit of shimmer. It's beautiful. And I'm not going to apply too much because I'm going to show you how I took my look from day to night. So every day I just put a tiny bit of shimmer across the lid like that. Love this topper. I love it. Just very, very subtle, because keep in mind I spent most of the day with my sunglasses on, so nobody got to see my eyes. Just really when I'm going down for breakfast and wandering around the hotel first thing in the morning. That's the only time my eyes were even on display. And then using the Pencil Pro to take my favourite inner corner shade and under the brow shade. I'm really not trying hard here. I didn't try hard on holiday, it was just a question of relaxing and enjoying myself with my makeup on. But my early morning sort of makeup look, I certainly wasn't panicking about precision or looking perfect. So just quick application and that's it. So I only took one eyeliner with me, and the one I've been loving most this year is from Charlotte Tilbury, the Duo in the brown. Now I didn't use this for my waterline, I took my Delilah one as I showed you, so I just put a bit of this to line under and above. I'm going to do this very lightly. The reason I'm doing this so lightly is because I would have done it a little bit stronger, but I'm going to show you how I take this day to night. And by the evening, this was still there, but it was a little bit more faded because the amount of sweat pouring down my face, and my eyes water a lot in the sun. So I did lose a little bit, but it still was there. It just faded, and it just needed something to top it up, which I will be showing you at the end. I'm using my pencil shaped liner brush from Sonia G. And then curl my lashes because I did put mascara on at this point. And the only mascara I took with me was the Lisa Eldridge Kitten Mascara in Burnt Umber, another liquid that I had with me on the plane. I do have a bag here which also came with me on the plane, but this is the non-liquid bag, so these two stayed with me. And Because you're only allowed one liquid bag per person, my husband had another one. I'm hard work, aren't I? So the Kitten mascara from Lisa Eldridge is my most trusted bulletproof mascara. When I've got water pouring down my face, this one always works. But in these conditions, I honestly don't think I've been that hot for that long with shades on. And this one actually did start to smudge a tiny bit. And I mean a tiny bit, just slightly under the eye. And if it did that, all I can say is there isn't a mascara on the planet that wouldn't have, because it was absolutely incredibly hot and humid. And we were out for hours and hours in the heat walking. Most people didn't when we went out in Paphos. Most places were closed until 4:30. But me and my husband, being the fools that we were out walking from sort of midday. Nobody else was. We were like, why is it so quiet? Nobody's out anywhere. Why are the shops closed? And why are so many cafes closed? I went, it's just because it's too hot. Nobody was going out at those times, but we were. So I really put this mascara to the test. So whilst it didn't fully pass, I know from experience that nothing works as well as this, nothing. But it wasn't so bad that if I took my shades off, I thought I looked like a panda or anything. We're talking about a tiny dab right at the end of the day, which might have been a bit of eyeliner as well, I suppose. So again, this is a look that could be left, but I still didn't stop there for my day look. I don't know if you're all watching this thinking, am I crazy? But when I apply makeup, it's generally for my work, which I enjoy, but I really like the way that on holiday I'm applying makeup just for myself and taking my time and relaxing. So I don't hold back, but I'm trying to show you how you could stop if you're looking for more simplistic looks. But what I did next, which I won't actually apply now, I'll explain why in a minute, is I went in with my Dior trio, I should say, not duo, and I took the Toffee Dior Backstage blush in powder form, and I also took it in the stick, and I took the Forever Glow Maximizer in the shade Nude, and these three together on my cheek. So the powder first, topped with the glow stick, and then a bit of the highlighter was my trio pretty much every day. Occasionally I switched it up to the pinks. So the Dior Backstage in pink, the powder, the stick in pink, and the Maximizer in pink. So I just switched between the two, but mostly I went with Toffee because I think it works so beautifully with the Fara Homidi bronzer. But I'm going to skip both powder and glow stick because they didn't disappear by the end of the day. They were still there, but they were faded a little bit. So I went in with something else for the evening, which is what I want to show you. But I feel like if I apply it now and then that, it will just look odd. So basically it would last me probably 6 hours, but my evening meal was probably, let me think, probably 8-9 hours after applying makeup, if not longer. So by then I needed some sort of blush top up, which is what I'll show you. But what I will put on is just the Maximizer because I didn't add any highlights. I kept just this one. So I'll just put that there. Absolutely adore these. And this shade in Nude, again, goes beautifully with this bronzer for a natural look. It goes beautifully with Toffee. It's a sort of very neutral one. It is my favourite one out of the whole release, and it actually came later, this one, in the collection. It wasn't in the original launch. Take it down the nose a bit. Now, I did say to you I had another powder, and that was the Givenchy. At the moment I don't really feel I need to, but at this point I might go into my Givenchy pressed powder. And actually I was using the brush that's provided with it, which is not something I normally do, but I've started finding that a really handy thing to do. I can't open it now because my hands are getting very hot. So just literally taking a little bit of the powder on the brush, and if my T-zone started to look a bit glowy at any point, or usually by the end of doing my makeup, if I just thought I needed a bit of a top up in these areas, that's what I would do. Again, I would do that for my touch up in the evening, and I would take this out with me during the day for the same purpose. Now probably the most important thing I'll be showing you in this entire video is the setting spray, because I had the best results of my whole life with this exceptional setting spray. This is the one from Tarte. This is the most affordable setting spray in my collection. I've actually gone through over half of it because that's how much I've been using it since getting it. This is the Max Fit waterproof setting spray, which said it's even chlorine proof, which is something I wanted to put to the test. Now every day I went swimming, but I didn't like let my face fall into the water. I kept my face above water but still swimming, and in the pools we were in we had sprinklers and all sorts, so there was lots of mist coming up in my face and water splashes. I had water literally pour down my face, and I tested this out. In fact, I filmed one day when I got back to the room. So this is my face after I've been out all day and then gone swimming and haven't touched my makeup at all, and all I had on was this to protect it, and it worked. It absolutely did. So I'll play you the clip now of me checking in the hotel after swimming. So here that is. This is my makeup after being out for a full day and swimming in the pool. You can see it's gone where my shades are, but that's impossible to fight. But I've been swimming, obviously not with my face actually in the water, but I've had lots of chlorine type water splashing at my face and nothing has moved, and that is because I've been using this from Tarte. This is light makeup, not like really full beat makeup, obviously, just to go out swimming and stuff. My mascara from Lisa Eldridge is still there. My eyes have just got highlighter on, that's also stayed, and I just keep reapplying lip balm that's a bit tinted. But I'm pretty happy because my foundation, I've got my Dior Cushion foundation on, and I've got a little bit of cream blush, the Dior cream blush, and a Fara Homidi bronzer. And you can just see a light hint of all of it, pretty much as I looked this morning. The only place where it's gone is a little bit around the chin, and that's from having a very, very, very messy lunch, and where my shades are. So all in all, I'm pretty impressed. So this absolutely blew me away. This gives you a lovely glow as well. I think that's probably why I went in with a bit of powder afterwards, because the glow it gives me, I want to take down a bit in the T-zone, so that's probably why. I'm not going to put this on now because I'm going to go in with another blush, but in the evening I took this one, the One Size Powder Melt Glass Setting Spray, because I knew that I wouldn't want to use this one during the day. I knew I wanted a waterproof one to lock things in during the day, and I wanted something like this for the evening because I knew by then I would have applied more powder, and this is so good at just sort of melting powder and giving you a healthy glow. And I took a picture during a sunset outside the hotel, and I actually uploaded it to my community post, and lots of you said you are glowing. It's like, yeah, because of this and this during the day. So yeah, I'd come back in the evening. I didn't take my makeup off at all. I just repowdered in the areas I needed to, put new blush on, which I'll show you in a minute, redid my eyes, and then I went in with this setting spray. So this gave me a gorgeous glow in the evening. So the duo of these, I wouldn't rely on this one for being out and about or swimming. I would definitely use this one in the evening for me, but it is beautiful. This one though, this is the one that really wowed me, and this I've used so much of it, I have to go and get another one because it is absolutely phenomenal. And we have a hot tub here at home, and because we've come back to a heat wave, we've set the hot tub on a really low temperature, and I've been going in that every night, and I've been having this on my face, and I go upstairs at midnight and I've had my makeup on all day and my makeup still looks perfect. And it's this, and it's obviously dealing with the chlorine in our hot tub and the water splashing in my face, and exceptionally hot weather with no air conditioning here in the house, and I'm using a misting fan which is blowing mist in my face to cool me down, and my makeup still stays on. This stuff is beyond fabulous. It is so good. Highly recommend it. At the moment I think it's only available on the Tarte website. There is a UK website you can order from, and I think there's a US or an international. I did put some Tarte products up in the Amazon sale where you can get a lot of Tarte products in the UK, but not that one. That's their brand new one. Don't get it wrong. They've got two different setting sprays. This is the new one. So look at this bottle and make sure it says Mask Fit Waterproof Setting Spray, because this is the one. The other one is very good, their original one. This one's even better, especially for that waterproof nature. So if you're going out on a boat, say jet skiing, anything where you're going to get sprayed in the face. This will keep you looking fabulous. It's so good. So I usually did line my lips when I was out during the day, and I did say to you I would test these Huda lip stains. So I took these with me. Now what I did was, the main test really was for the flight. So I took these, well, I've only been using these three. So this one is the rosewood, this one's the light pink, and then this one, which one is it? I didn't actually use this one, but anyway, this is the soft nude. And the soft nude is definitely the best one for me in terms of longevity and colour. These two are just less moist, and they just don't, they run out, they dry out much more, and they don't pack as much of a punch, especially this one. So I've been finding using these two together is my best sort of combo, but I didn't want to go with this soft nude as my shade because it didn't really go with any of the lip looks I chose to take with me for holiday. So for the flight, I went with the rosewood as my liner and the Violette FR Lip Nectar in Dahlia Noir as my fill. So I could test them both out, and that combination actually worked very, very well because the Huda lip liners really last as lip liners. What I find they don't work so well for is fill, whereas the Violette, whilst it maybe doesn't have quite the longevity, what it does have, as the Huda is anyway, it does have excellent longevity, but what it does have is a much more natural wear off, I find. With the Huda it seems to wear off in a bit of a patchy way, or I'd have a stained bit staying here where I tend to have more of a dry lip and the rest of the lip it disappeared from. Whereas this just very naturally fades away. So I reapplied this as we arrived. Our flight was 4.5 hours and we were in the airport for 2 hours. So that's 6.5 hours later. I check in a mirror. I thought I could do with a little bit more before we get off the plane. So I added a bit of this. My liner was still there. So for that, in those really dry conditions, they both worked very well together, but for me the Huda is a fail when it comes to fill. So if you're buying these to use to fill and line, personally I don't rate them. I don't like the way they dry out. I can tell you though that the keeping them in your bag is fine because you just give them a shake, but I still find it annoying that when you're applying you have to keep shaking and getting the product to go back to the tip to keep going because you run out even when you're lining. So I have to say I did get a bit fed up with these, and after the first 2 days I ditched them and stopped using them. I did however take with me my current favourite liners, which is the Charlotte Tilbury. Can you tell which of the two is my favourite by any chance? So this one is the lightest, this is the second lightest. The lightest is the Fair, which is my favourite. So I just went in with the liner. I won't put it on now. I went in with the liner and then whatever I wanted on my lips because I've already got this stain here. So I'd basically take any sort of lipstick. I took a few different lipsticks. I'll show you my favourite ones next. But I use that as my liner. Now this liner gives me about 6 hours, which is enough for out and about. But I can tell you I used this pen on one day where I lined and filled, which at home works very well for me for a good 6 hours. In that intense heat all day with that humidity, it didn't go beyond 2. It literally disappeared. Obviously I'm drinking tons of water in that sort of temperature, and at home I tend to use my sippy cup. My Stanley is always next to me, so I'm not chucking back so much water from glasses that's going all over my lips. But this did not go more than 2 hours if you're thinking of it as your fill-in line in really warm weather. So as a sort of 6 hour liner, it's still very good, but I would go with something like the lip cheats, not the duos, if you want more longevity. And maybe if you fill with those as well, you'd find that. I did take the Pat McGrath ones with me as well though, which I only put on in the evening apart from on one day. But the Pat McGrath liner, still there when I got back from a day out. Very, very good longevity with those. And obviously I did pair it sometimes with the Violette as well. So again, that's a really good way. You get hydration with this, take your lip gloss out with you, top up during the day, and you've got a good 6 hours of both liner and colour, and you just need a good lip gloss. But the lip gloss I chose to use every single day, which was something that's new to my collection, and I picked up 3 shades in this, I only took one on holiday though, is the Ultra Violette SPF 50. A very neglected part of the face people don't always protect, and I get such dry lips. So this one is the Sheen Screen Hydrating Lip Balm, but most importantly is protecting you with SPF. So this one is in the shade Bejeweled, which I think is a perfect sort of shade for me to go over any of the lip colours I was using. It's very sheer, to be fair. It doesn't really change the colour much, but if you do lose your lipstick during the day, you're getting that little pop of pink. These are very, very good. They're very grippy, they're not sticky, they're very comfortable, they're quite thick, they're long lasting. So I was using this to protect my lips and top up during the day when I was out, during the daytime anyway. I said I'd mention the 2 lipsticks I used the most. I took loads, so I won't go through them all, but these are the 2 that I used the most. Probably my favourite of the 2 would be the Sisley. This is the new limited edition release from Sisley. There were 3 of these. So this is the PH Rouge Shine limited edition 11 Blossom Pink I've got here. I absolutely adore this. So this one is lipstick, lip balm, lip gloss, hydration, all in one. It is, and it's such a pretty summer shade. It is absolutely stunning, and it gives you extremely long lasting hydration. So obviously I'm putting that SPF gloss on top to protect my lips as well. But this, if I was just out and about in the hotel and not going outside, this is all I'd need, because this locks in hydration for ages and gives you a beautiful colour. It's also so easy to reapply. You can pretty much do it without looking. So it's a great one to have on the go, and it's beautiful to pull out of your handbag. So I really enjoyed that. But I also picked up the one from Gucci that just literally launched a few days before I left. So this is their limited edition lipstick that launched. Gorgeous floral packaging, and the shade is They Met in Argentina. So this is a similar formula really to the Sisley, but not as hydrating, but quite a similar shade as well, but not completely the same. Less pigment, but again a perfect sort of hydrating, shiny, summer, easy to apply lipstick. So both gorgeous packagings, which obviously makes me enjoy you getting them out more, but perfect for summer. The shade's perfect, the formula's perfect, but this one not as good as the Sisley, I can't say that. So now when it came to the evening, my favourite lip combinations were the Pat McGrath ones. Pat McGrath recently relaunched her lip liners, and I don't know if they're new shades or just a relaunch, I can't remember to be honest, but these are my favourites. So I've got here the Suburbia and I've got the Stardust, and I combined these with the Dramatique lip pencils, the chubby ones. So these have excellent longevity, but the liners have even more longevity, and I love these combinations. So this one is called Mademoiselle, and this one is the Stardust. I'll show you how these are together. So that's the combination there of those 2. And then Suburbia with Divine Rose, this combination here, slightly warmer combination. But it was one night that I tried something else with the Pat McGrath that I discovered probably one of my favourite things I have found in, I don't know, certainly all year, but in a long time. So let me put Suburbia on my lips first, the liner. And you can see why I saved this for the evenings. It's quite a bold colour. Now keep in mind, I've still got that lip stain on my lips, so I don't have my natural lip colour now, but by now the lip stain would have started to run out quite a lot, so my lips would be a lot paler than this. And then I went in with the Violette FR, the Bisou Balm in Rose Latte. Now I find with the Bisou balms they last me maybe 2 hours, which is why I think they're perfect for an evening meal. They give me a little bit of a sort of matte finish, which is why I might want a bit of a shimmer. I often added a shimmery gloss at the end. But my big discovery with this is I'd heard that this works well on the cheeks, so I thought one night I would try the lip and cheek combination. So I used my Mario F4 brush to do this with the smaller end, so taking some of it on the brush, and then so I would be applying this on top of the makeup I've done that morning. So basically the setting spray is still there, the powders is going on top of all of those things, and it's not even a blush, it is a lipstick. And look, just look at that. I can tell you now, I think it was about day 3 I discovered this, and that was it. Every single night this was my look, because I love it. I love it so much. And you can see the highlighters beneath, so it's not a totally flat matte look, because I'm getting that glow, and I could obviously add a bit more highlighter in if I felt I needed it. But I just think the matching lips and cheeks as well, but I thought it's the most stunning colour. And we would go out for an evening walk afterwards and all sorts, so we would eat at about 7 PM, but we wouldn't actually be going to sleep, and I wouldn't be washing my makeup off until about 12:30, and it certainly didn't budge, considering it is just a Bisou balm. It is not a blush, but I have heard Violette saying you can use it as a blush, but it's a lasting blush and it's beautiful and it's so easy to apply. I need to calm down now, I'm putting too much on. But it's just, look at it, isn't it beautiful? So now I've made that discovery, all of the Bisou balms I now own, I need to try in exactly the same way because I love that. And talk about an easy way to have your product if you want to condense it down into a small number, just having this. So when I showed you my easy look at the beginning, I could have skipped that PH liquid blush and maybe gone with this, with the bronzer, and that would have done. Because that's, if you want to pack lightly, certainly when I go on a holiday where I can only have my take-on luggage with me, my carry-on luggage, that's going to be a perfect option for my lip and cheek. I'm trying to wash off the Pat McGrath. I've got the chubby liners off and I can't get the lip liner off. I told you it's so good. I'm scrubbing and scrubbing with a makeup wipe. Look. I'm going to need an oil to get it off. I told you they are so good. Not good on your hands. So if by now I felt my foundation needed a bit of a top up, because especially here where my sunglasses would have gone straight in and taken off a bit of makeup there, I just go back in with this cushion foundation from Dior, which obviously I won't do now, and tap in and put it into all of the areas that I thought I'd need it. Again, this went on beautifully on top of everything that was sitting on my face. I didn't need to remove anything. It didn't look cakey. It just went straight on top. So I'd had all that setting spray from earlier in the day, the powders, everything, and it still worked on top, which I thought was brilliant. And I also took the product I can't live without these days, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Flawless Pink. And I finished just about every evening I finish my look, as always, using my Blender Pro brush from Sonia G, going into the pink powder in this. I didn't use the blush once, but I used the pink powder just to go around the edges, because I just love the way it blurs the edges of a blush and takes away that little bit of shine as well. It's just, I love it. So I did also take with me the Prada powder highlighter in the lightest shade, but I only used it once because I just enjoyed the Dior maximizers too much, so I probably didn't need to take that. I love that trio I showed you with Dior. And then for eyes, I had two eyeshadow palettes with me. I did also take all of my NYX highlighters, which you've seen me use before. And I did on 2 days, instead of using the topper from the Black Diamond, for my day look, I went over the eye. I kept the bronzer in the crease and above, put none of the bronzer actually on the lid itself, and then I used the highlighter. And I did find that that wore off a bit. So one thing with the NYX, in very high temperatures and humidity, I did lose a bit of it, but then I'm not using any sort of grippy primer because I powder on top of that primer I showed you. So I think if you want your NYX highlighters to last as eyeshadows, you do need to put some sort of grippy glitter glue underneath if you want longevity in the heat with those, but otherwise they're very good. But for the evening, my makeup would have faded a little bit on the eyes, but also I haven't put much on them either. So even if it hasn't faded, I'd find the sparkle had often gone quite a bit by the end of the day, because again, I didn't use a glitter glue, so that's my choice. But anyway, in the evening, I either went in with this limited edition YSL, which isn't my favourite of the two looks, so I won't do that now. If you've seen this, I absolutely love this, especially this duochrome. So this is a lovely summer look, probably the most perfect summer palette, or quad anyway, that I've tested all year. So that was one look I love to do in the evening. And then I would use this shade here to line. So basically I didn't really bother with these two. So this all over the mobile lid and this one to line, and that's all I did. I just left everything else. I didn't even top up mascara because it was still there. But yeah, that's about it to vamp up the evening look. But my favourite palette and my favourite look was I took the Viseart Midsummer Lumiere, which I did say when I reviewed has to be the most perfect palette for the summer. So every time I used this, there were 3 shades I used, and that was this one, and this one. So I take this, start building up a little bit more definition now in the outer V. So this is going on top of what's ready there. I never took my eye makeup off in the evening, just straight in with this on top. And whatever's on my eyes right now, whatever formula is there, whether that's a bit of that setting spray still there, this just goes on with no problem whatsoever and still blends beautifully. And a bit of this with the Pencil Pro, taking a slightly thicker layer this time. So we're going with that evening look, which is a bit more intense obviously than my day look. And then taking the gorgeous duochrome here all over the lid. Not all over the lid actually, I'm getting that wrong. This isn't what I did. I took it in the first 2/3 of the lid, so I did use a different shade than the ones I showed you. So I used this duochrome, which I'm showing you now. So that's my second shade. And then I took this shimmer here. And these two together, I just love them for the evening. And I would catch myself in different lights and going in different bathrooms in different places. And every time I would see this sparkle on my eye and just, oh, I loved it. So this became my go-to look most evenings. I did think I would mix it up and want to change my eye looks every evening, but I just loved this so much. So just take a fluffy brush and mix it there at the top a bit, but nothing much is needed because these Viseart formulas are just so good. I did say that I used the dark brown as the liner, but I'm wrong, I didn't. So that was all I used. So literally that one, and that one. And then I finished with my Tom Ford, obviously, but it was for this liner, this deep sort of plum, which I took then, and bear in mind my eyeliner had faded a bit. Now I didn't apply the eyeliner as much as I normally do, as I told you, but it would have faded a little bit more than it has now, so I would have needed this, but obviously this is more intense anyway, and then I can create a bit of a wing and smoke it out a bit more for that evening look. So you can see the difference there, having it and not having it, but I would have lost more liner from this side anyway. So just a slightly thick wing there, nothing too complicated. I mean, one thing I find, which probably a lot of you find, is when you're using a dressing table or a mirror on holiday, is very rarely going to have the lighting that you have at home, because you probably have a mirror that's giving you the perfect light. We've usually found one. I know I'm using a beauty room with all sorts of lights. I'm used to having really good lighting, but before I did this, I have this Hollywood mirror here in front of me with all bulbs around it, and I'm sure lots of you have lit mirrors, but I don't take one on holiday with me, so I might have had a nice dressing table, but the lighting wasn't that great, so I was using a handheld mirror to try and see up a bit closer, but it's much more difficult. So I wasn't being too fussy about this, but I found this look so easy. But if I did think it needed any tidying up, then it would be back in with the Tom Ford, just tidy up the wing area. And by now I probably needed to do under the brow again, and probably the inner corner again, which I obviously won't do because I've just done it. But if it was in the evening, I'd probably just add a bit more, just tidy up the look. And that would be it. That would be my evening look to go from day to night. And it was so quick and easy, but made me feel that much more special. And this look went with pretty much most of my outfits as well. So I haven't shown you the Tarte setting spray because I can't really use two in this look, but trust me, it is absolutely amazing, and I've used it in lots of videos already. But for the lock-in during the day, the waterproof nature of it, fabulous. But now for the evening, I just want that gorgeous glow. And I would have applied a bit of extra powder by now, which I have actually with the Charlotte Tilbury, haven't I? But I probably would have gone into my T-zone to set there on top of any foundation I've reapplied, and then going in with a Tarte. I love this. I said Tarte, going in with the one size. So I'll just leave this to dry down, and you can just see how beautifully glowy this one is. So if you're someone like me who cannot bear sticky makeup, but you like to wear glowy products and sat it because you do get that glow coming through. Sorry, there's a plane outside now. We're getting all the noises, aren't we? But if you are somebody who likes to powder on top of lots of products, I certainly have a lot of layers, this is so perfect because it makes you look like you are wearing super glowy makeup and it looks like you have no powder on. But it doesn't have a tacky sticky finish, so you have a complete dry down, no tackiness, no stickiness, but you look like you are wearing superbly glowy makeup. So it's so ideal for me because I love it when I apply something like the Cushion Foundation from Dior and I get that lovely healthy glow, but I have to powder down because I can't bear the feel of it. Now, I might want to take the shine out the centre of my face. I don't really want to lose the shine from here, so I go in with things like highlighters to bring the shine back. And I use glowy products under the powder, hoping they'll come through the powder a bit during the day, but I can't bear the tacky feeling. but with that you get the glow. So you could use a really matte base, I think, and it would still be really good. It's just, I'm going to keep trying it, but I'm absolutely loving it because it just transforms the look into a healthy glowy look, and it does literally melt the powders, as it says, and fuse them together and make it all look more natural. It's absolutely beautiful setting spray. So here is how the setting spray is now looking. Now it's dried down, and I've gone in with a little bit of the Givenchy pressed powder. I did actually do it off camera thinking it was filming, but anyway, Givenchy pressed powder, just using the brush that comes with it in this area because you can see the glow it has given me, which is exceptional. But I just want to take down the glow a little bit in the center of my face. Glow but not sticky. It's dry but glowing. It's absolutely sensational. That setting spray along with the Tarte for me are the two best setting sprays I've got in my collection, not just this year. They've just gone straight to number one. Tarte for the waterproof longevity during the day for even swimming, and the One Size for when you've got all the powders like I wear. A quick mention to products I haven't just applied, and one of them is a non-makeup product, and this is from the Bath & Body Works, which have now launched, I don't know how long ago actually, in Next in the UK. So if you go on Next, you'll be able to find lots of these hand sanitizers, I can't speak. What are they called? Gel cleansers, cleansing hand gels. But anyway, my husband's a doctor and he is paranoid about getting stomach bugs, and he's constantly applying hand gels because of his job. So on the plane and everywhere where we're touching things, he's always saying get these hand gels. So we always go everywhere with them, always have done. And to be honest, touch wood, we don't seem to get any tummy issues when we go abroad. So always keep one of these in my bag. They're small enough to put in with my small liquid bag on the plane. They smell gorgeous. They're very affordable. I think with Next, if you buy 5 you get one free, or you get one very much reduced. They have beautiful smells. This one's Peach Bellini, and I bought this case that you can also get from Next, so you can hook this in and have it like a charm on your handbag. So very handy because it's easy to just grab hold of before you eat. So really, really good. Definitely recommend having that for travel. And another thing which I used, I did say that I used the Givenchy setting powder during the day, but that's actually inaccurate. I put it in my bag and used it in the evening and on the plane. But when I was going out in the sun, I was using this one, which I think I got from the Shiseido website. I could be wrong, but it says on it it's called the Anessa Brush On SPF 50 powder. Something I've never tried before. This is literally a brush and the powder just comes through the brush. So you can take this, and as your oils come through you can use it as your powder, but you can do an all over coating of this as your SPF top up rather than doing an SPF spray, which can be quite sticky. I do find SPF sprays too sticky, and you don't really want to be putting SPF cream on top of your makeup either, if you're someone like me who likes to wear a reasonable amount of makeup during the day and you don't want to ruin it. So this is a perfect way of doing it because it's just giving you the powder that your face probably needs, but it's also giving you that light dusting all over to give you SPF 50 coverage. And it's very light, it's not cakey, it doesn't show any colour, it's just invisible. It's a very good powder. So I'd recommend looking this up. I haven't written down all of these products I'm showing you here at the end because my current list in the video description is already showing you so many products I've run out of space. So if you want this product name or more information, I will give it to you. Please do message me either in the comment section below or on Instagram, which is han.beauty101. I always reply to private messages on Instagram if you want to send me a private DM. And yeah, the Anessa Brush On SPF 50, brilliant idea for topping up with SPF, and my face absolutely was fine using just that and my original ultraviolet in the morning. Violet, not Violette. Also want to give a little mention to the Benefit Glow La La which is the highlighter in light pink, which I also took with me, and I did wear this on my eyes at least maybe just once actually during the day. First time I've tried it on the eyes. I always thought this would be very pretty on the eyes. It's very pretty on the face as well, but on the eyes, I mean, look at it. It is quite something, this one. And it looks absolutely stunning on the eyes. I've been keeping this one on my desk with the intention of using it for just eyes and face. But if you have something like the Fara Homidi bronzer and this, you've got your eyes and your bronzer and your blush and your highlight all covered just with those two products. And you'll love them. You just don't need anything else. They are so very, very good. One product I took which was new to me, which was an absolute fail as far as I was concerned, was the MAC Strobe Cream. I got this one in the, it just says UV light, but this is the lavender lilac shade. Now I thought I could wear this across here, sort of highlight in the evening, and I just put a ton of this on and I couldn't see it. No matter what lights I seemed to shine myself underneath, I just couldn't see it. So here's the cream. I'll show you it on my hand. It'll probably look glowy now on my hand. It does, doesn't it? But honestly, on my neck, it just disappeared and I didn't see it at all. So it looks really good there. But it just seemed to vanish on my neck, and I just thought it was a complete waste of time. Like, it's so creamy, it's like a moisturiser, and as I'm rubbing it in, can you still see it now? As I rubbed it in, yeah, there we go, that's why. Because as you rub it in, it just starts to disappear. Your skin absorbs it and the glow just vanishes. It's very deceptive. It looks good, doesn't it, when you first put it on, but look. Useless. Never using that product again. I just didn't like that at all. To be honest, that's not something I normally would do anyways, just for holiday, but that was a shame because I could have tried something else. But anyway, so the last thing I would do before leaving for our evening meal is just put some sort of gloss on. So one of the ones I took was this one from Valentino. I love this one. It's a sort of pink milky shade, this one. It just says 302R on the back, but anyway, this is their puffer gloss, and these are one of the best long-lasting hydration glosses I've ever tried. They really do last, so they're really good for things like going out in the evening in hot weather and you want it to last. So the Bezo Balm is still not drying out my lips, but it will eventually. It doesn't have that much hydration, so I put it on before I left. And again, I don't need the SPF 51 now because I'm going out when the sun has set. And in Paphos, if you don't know that part of the world, the sun sets by 8:05 this time of year, which feels so strange because in the UK it's around 10 p.m. So I'd be FaceTiming my family at home, my children, and it would be pure daylight at home. Also, there's a 2-hour difference, but also even if I'm ringing them at midnight in Paphos and I'm ringing them here, so it's 10 p.m. here in the UK and it's still light. And it's been pitch black for a good few hours in Paphos because the sun goes down at 8:05 and it's pretty much dark by 9. But in the UK, it's a completely different story. So you can see that it doesn't really change the colour. It does maybe give it a little bit of a milky pink, but nothing too much. But it's going to give me hours of hydration that will survive a meal. So very, very, very good option if you want it to last beyond the meal. So you don't need to top up. Like in our case, we always go for a walk after our evening meal, for probably an hour, sometimes 2 hours. And I want that hydration to last. Obviously, I can take it with me and top up, but it's good that you don't have to. And I certainly don't need to with that one. It's a really good one. The other one I used quite a lot, which doesn't have as much hydration, but I just couldn't resist for the sparkle, is this new one I tried recently from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I can't see the number on this. Magnifying glass to the rescue. The Amber Sparkle. The lip gloss. The range I've found of this lip gloss, by the way, none of them are sparkly apart from this one. The ones that are available anyway. But this one is a lovely sparkle. So if you just need that bit of sparkle, there it is. Can you see the Pat McGrath lip liners? They're still there. And then obviously I would finish with perfume. So I had a number of different perfumes for the evening, but I just want to show you the one that I chose for my day perfume, which I pretty much wore every single day. And I've shown you this one before. This is the Jo Malone Beach Blossom, which I haven't had very long, but you can see how much I've used this one. And every day I wore this. This is the holiday summer perfume. You will not find a fragrance that just completely brings the smell of summer holiday to you more than this. It is coconut, beach, tropical, peachy perfection. I adore this. It doesn't have an awful lot of longevity. You do need to top up. So I did have another stronger perfume to use in the evening. So this wasn't my evening perfume. It was my daytime perfume. And we are in and out of the hotel a fair bit. So drown myself in the morning with it and then add a bit more if I pop in during the day. But again, that's not a problem, is it? So there we go. I think I have shown you everything. This is an incredibly long video. If you are still here, well done. it really has been a very long video because I really wanted to go through with you all the things that have been winners for me, and I think I've covered everything that was particularly good, and a couple of things I tested that were not so good. Most of them were though, because I'd already tested them before, so I was fairly confident they were going to work. I think the only thing I was really looking to test was the Huda liners, which I think for me, whilst they're not a disaster, they're just not that great in my opinion. But anyway, so that is the end of my review. And my review, this isn't really a review, is it? This is the end of my holiday video. I do hope you found this helpful. If, like me, you like to pack heavily, then hopefully this has been helpful to you. But I have tried to show you things you could take if you wanted to minimise. So hopefully if you like to pack in a more minimal way and have a quick, easy, your face but better type of look, then hopefully I've shown you a few products that could work for that. I do pack in a minimal way when we travel, as I said, with take-on luggage only, and I have one bag only of makeup. I can't really strip it down, but for these holidays where we're allowed massive suitcases and huge weight allowances, I am taking everything I want to take, and that's what I did. And I was really pleased. There was nothing I felt I was missing. There was nothing I thought, oh, why didn't I bring it? The only thing I was upset about was leaving my Dior foundation stick at home, because I did think the cushion might have been too glowy, but it wasn't. It was perfect, and it worked perfectly for me in that weather, so I didn't need it in the end. So there were no regrets. I was fully covered, and I loved my makeup every single day, and more importantly, I really enjoyed applying it. So I did say to you before I leave this video, I would show you the clip of the sunset of that beautiful beach. Now it does say on there what the name of is the Edro, not, I think I said something else like Every earlier, didn't I? The shipping company, if I said Every, honestly. I think it's the Edro shipwreck, but anyway, here is that clip. I didn't take out the sound, so you'll hear me and my husband Gadir chatting a little bit on and off. The reason I didn't remove the sound is because you can hear the sea lapping on the shore, which I think is quite nice. But anyway, watch that clip. I'll leave you with that actually, so I'll say goodbye to you now, and if you've enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button, and I would be very grateful if you did. And if you're not subscribed, I would love it ever so much if you did. But if you already are, you're at the end of another video, and I absolutely appreciate you all for being here, especially at the end of these long ones. And I will leave you watching my sunset video from Paphos, and if it was you that recommended I visit that, thank you so much. It is a treasured memory for us, it truly is. And I will see you all hopefully again for my next video. Take care everybody. Bye.
These are banana trees, I'm sure they are.
True.
Send it to your friend, your subscriber. Yeah, I know. Maybe the best place.
I saw. The details.